What is up, people? My name is Shoquafina, and I'm the coach of your Lake Huron Lanturns here in Week 8 of the GPL. And this week we're going up against Foxxy Ice Cubes and the Winnipeg Weaviles. If you guys are excited for this matchup, please leave a like down below, as well as subscribe and follow me on Twitter to be notified when I post more videos. And before we get into this video, I just kind of want to have a little precursor to the battle here. I know this is coming really late. I know I haven't uploaded anything recently, but this is actually my 5th time recording this battle the full way through, because my recording software is just basically taking a giant dump on me, and I'm trying to solve that. But I want to get this out for you guys, and it's kind of a long battle, as you can tell by how long this video is, so that doesn't help my recording software at all. And I was also on vacation all last week. I didn't really have a lot of internet capabilities, so I wasn't able to film or record or produce any kind of content, so that's a thing also. But this weekend we should get back on track with our stuff. I just want to get this out here to let you guys know that everything will be fine this weekend, except for my next GPL match, because that person dropped the league and we haven't found a replacement, so I'm just going to take a 3-0 forfeit. So instead of producing a GPL team builder and match for this weekend, I will just put up some kind of showdown live instead for you guys. That way there's at least some kind of content out there, and I'm getting more likes on I'm getting more views on those than I am these match battles and team builders anyway, so you guys seem to be liking that a bit more. So let's just go over his team really quick. That's enough of that jumping here. He's got the Mega Venusaur, the Staraptor, Rotom Heat, Tentacruel, Quagsire, and Azu. We don't see Latios, which is absolutely fine by me. I was terrified of Scarf Latios. That thing could have tore through my team in an instant. We see 3 water types here, which is okay because I have the HP Grass on my Vaporeon. And I said in my team builder, which by the way, if you haven't seen my team builder, there should be a link down below to go watch it, that my Crobat is going to be my dedicated lead because it's probably going to be my best Pokemon just for his team in general. Choice Banded Brave Bird, 2-hit KOs everything on his team except for Rotom. So that's kind of what we're going with here. That's what we're going to start with. Our Crobat. Pinky's out there. He's going to lead with his Quagsire. I know this 2-hit KOs unless he's like heavily physically defensive. And I actually just go for the U-turn here against the Rotom upon the switch out, since I saw that one coming. And I go out into my Heatran. He just goes for Volt Switch, so we know he outspeeds us. He knows we're not Scarf, and he goes right out to his Quagsire as I set up my Stealth Rocks. I know I can get bodied by an Earthquake or an Earth Power or whatever this wants to do, so I have to switch out here. And I go right out into my H2Olga as he goes for the Ice Punch, probably predicting my Crobat to come out, or my Altaria, expecting the Earthquake. So that's a good play on his part, but we just sent out our H2Olga and we ate that up anyway. So he has to switch out here into his Tentacruel. I just go for the Scald because I wanted to see what kind of Quagsire this was. If it was Water Absorb, that's perfect for me. If it's Unaware, then I have to play around it. Plus, I was just hoping to get a burn on something, even though we don't get a burn on the Tentacruel. So that was more of a Scout kind of Scald there. And now that I see the Tentacruel come out, I can freely switch into something else. Or I could actually go for a Wish here. I guess he goes for the Rapid Spin. Because I knew the Rapid Spin was coming, so I just predicted that, went for the Wish. Then I go out to my Ringo here as he sets up a Toxic Spike. I don't want to deal with that, so I'm going to go ahead and taunt him so he can't set up 3 layers. And this would be very bad for me if I didn't have Scolipede. But the problem here is I need to find a way to get Scolipede in and out for free, because I do not want it to take any damage at all. So I need to catch him on like a Volt Switch with his Rotom, or a potential U-turn with his Staraptor or something, and go out into my Scolipede as he is doing that. That's really the only way I can soak up these Toxic Spikes, because I don't want to defog on Toxic Spikes, to be honest with you guys, especially since defog is my 4th move on my Crobat. Did I decide on that? I don't remember. It's been so long. Defog may or may not be my 4th move on my Crobat. Let's just leave it at that. And if I have that thing in there, I want to go for a U-turn or Brave Bird. So I just go ahead and Wish here on the Azu, and I switch out into my H2Olga. It does get Toxic, unfortunately, but that's not too big of a deal because we are so bulky. Plus, we have 2 Wish supporters as well as leftovers. You see he goes out into his Venusaur. I go for HP Grass, either expecting nothing to stay in and go for Play Rough, or him to go out into his Quagsire to wall me. Unfortunately, he does go out into his Venusaur. If I had Ice Beam, though, that could have been very dangerous for him if I made that prediction. But I don't, so good play on his part. He quad resists that. As you see, it does absolutely nothing to him. As he's going to stay in here and Mega Evolve, I go out into my Pinky here and take this Leech Seed. So you see he's more of a support set, which is fine. That means he might not have Earthquake for Heatran. I just go ahead and U-turn out here on his switch into Rotom yet again. And there's the PD. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Get a U-turn out, have him switch so I don't take a hit, and then go right out into my Scolipede. So we got this thing in for free. We soaked up the Toxic Spikes. Now we can switch out into a Mon that just handles this thing very well. I go out into my Heatran, predicting the Fire-type move to hit my Scolipede with. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp. We get our Flash Fire boost, which is absolutely perfect for me. We can see here he goes for the Volt Switch to switch out. And I'm starting to take a little bit of damage here with Heatran. He goes on his Tentacruel. I actually predict that and go for the Earth Power. You see, thanks to Specs, that does an incredible amount of damage. That thing's going to take a lot. It's easily 2-hit KO'd. So if I predict this thing coming in, this thing might actually go down to a Fire Blast after a Flash Fire boost. But yeah, so that's good for me. I want Tentacruel out of here. As soon as I get rid of his Rapid Spinner, I can set up rocks and really start to wear down his team, especially that Staraptor and the Rotom Heat, because Rotom Heat is probably the biggest obstacle in my way of getting rid of this Venusaur right now. So he goes for the Leech Seed on my Ringo here as I go ahead and set up a Wish. And I hard switch out into my Pinky to take the Sludge Bomb and then heal myself all the way back up to full, which is absolutely fine by me. And I just go for the Cross Poison here, predicting the Rotom Heat. Unfortunately, he goes kind of ballsy and stays in, probably expecting the U-turn. But that does about a third to him, so a decent amount of damage, but, you know, not too much. You know, he could Synthesis that off, or a couple turns of Leech Seed will get rid of that. So, not too thrilled about it, but I'm just going to go for the Cross Poison again. No, I'm actually going to switch out here so I get rid of his Leech Seed into my Ringo as he goes out into his Quagsire. I'm going to go ahead and go for the Taunt, because I don't want this thing setting up rocks or getting a Toxic or anything off, as he actually goes for the Toxic, and he cannot do that. He has to switch out again to his Azu as I go for the Toxic here, and Toxic the Azu, which is fine. I would have much rather this thing been burned with a Scald to make it a lot less viable, but you know, any form of damage to whittle this thing down is fine, because if this thing's banded, it could actually hurt my team quite a bit. So he's going to actually double out here into his Venusaur as I just go for a Wish and go right out into my Pinky yet again. He goes for the Leech Seed this time, not going for the Sludge Bomb, and you see he's starting to heal himself up pretty well there with the Leech Seed. I just go for the Brave Bird this turn, and we get a crit on the Rotom, bringing him down to about half. But after Leftovers recovery and Leech Seed recovery, you see that puts him back up to about 70%, which is not where I want him to be. So I got to my Ringo here to take this Volt Switch, because I'm especially defensive. I can take anything that wants to do. And he goes out to a Staraptor. So you can see we're 25 turns in. Nothing has died yet. A lot of Volt Turn on his team. A lot of just switching in and taking hits with my walls on my team. It's a very defensive-oriented match. A lot of predictions being made just to switch in on different things. And this has to be one of them right here. I don't want to take a close combat. I have to switch. I go out into my H2Olga. He actually goes for a U-turn here. And he goes right out into his Venusaur again. So we see his Venusaur as his answer for my H2Olga. As he pulls a double here, goes out into his Rotom. I actually go for a Wish, predicting him to switch, because he's been switching this entire match. And I just go for the Protect so I can bring myself back up to full before Toxic damage. And you can see Toxic's really starting to wear me down, 18% now. He goes for Volt Switch. I know I can take that. And honestly, Vaporeon's less useful in this match because of his Mega Venusaur being so good against it. So I just go for the Wish, and I switch into my Pinky here. As he goes for the Giga Drain, it does nothing, and then I get back to full with my Crobat. I said in the Team Builder, my play this entire match is to make sure Crobat is as healthy as possible throughout this entire match. That way I can just put in work against his team, because this thing hits everything so hard except for that Rotom Heat. And I'm going to go for the Brave Bird here as he sends in the Quagsire. It does over half. You see that. It doesn't matter after Leftovers. This thing's still going to go down. So here we are, 32 turns into the match. We finally get our first knockout. Crobat taking out the Quagsire, which is very good for me, because this thing could have easily been sent in against my Mega Altaria after a couple of Dragon Dances just to tank some hits, and could really stop my sweep there. If I had Scald, that could burn me, you know, just really annoying things like that. Plus has the Ice Punch, which is super effective against Mega Altaria. So I wanted that thing gone, but now he sends in his Rotom, and I want this thing gone even more. Without this, Choice Banded Brave Bird just sweeps his team. I'm faster than everything unless he's Scarfed. I'm starting to think that the Staraptor is Scarfed because of the U-turn he's been going for. And I think the Azu might be banded as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch out here into my Ringo. As he goes for the Volt Switch, does a little chip damage to me and goes right out into a Staraptor yet again. I decided to stay in here because I predicted him going for the U-turn, which he did, and I just go for the wish and to help heal myself back up. And I switch out into my Heatran, expecting the fire type move, and I get my flash fire and back at full, so that's fantastic for me. He's gonna volt switch again and go right out into the Venusaur, excuse me. I just go for the fire blast here and I miss, which is a big problem because that thing would have done a lot of damage to that Venusaur. I know it's not technically super effective because he has the thick fat, but it's still, I'm Flash Fire, so that's 1.5 times. I'm Specs, so that's 1.5 times. That would have done a tremendous amount of damage to that Venusaur, and I'm kind of disappointed that I had to miss there. And I don't want to stay in here because I know he has the Earthquake. I just know he does. And he shows it right there. We take that with our Ringo, though. As he goes for Leech Seed here, I just have to go for Wish. I need to keep this healthy. I need to keep all of my Pokemon healthy. He just pulls a double here into his Rotom as he takes a foul play. I was just trying to get some chip damage on the Venusaur, make sure his Leech Seed wasn't doing too much for him. But we get back to where I think is a good place to be at. He goes for the Volt Switch there, goes back into his Azu. I go for yet another Wish here. And now, this is the scenario that I don't want to be in, because this thing could kill me with a Play Rough. But if I switch into my Heatran and take the Play Rough, because I resist it 4 times, you could kill my Heatran with a Waterfall. So this is kind of where the guessing games come in on both sides. I actually switch. I make the play into my Heatran and take that easily and get my Wish back up to full. And he actually switches here, so that tells me he's banded. I go for the Earth Power, predicting the Tentacruel, and Tentacruel goes down there. So that's our second kill of the match. 42 turns. It took 42 turns to get rid of 2 of his Pokemon, but we got rid of the Tentacruel, which is perfect. Now we can set up Stealth Rocks, but now we can't do it against Venusaur because Earthquake would just decimate me. And he actually predicts me to switch out and goes out to a Staraptor as I go into my Ringo. I predict him to U-turn again. He actually goes for Brave Bird. Does not pick up the KO, but my Foul Play does so much damage to him after recoil. So he wants to switch there. He doesn't want to lose that yet. As I pull a double out into my Heatran, he predicts that as well. Goes out into his Venusaur. So he's making a lot of very aggressive switches here to predict what I'm going into. So I just switch out here again. I go out into my Pinky. He goes for the Earthquake, which does absolutely nothing because I'm flying. I go for the Cross Poison, again, predicting him to go out into his Rotom, but he stays in. He's being really bold right now, and I do not appreciate it one bit. He goes for Leech Seed and misses, so now I guess can go for Cross Poison again. And just free do it. And that brings it down to 66%. I have to switch out. I go out to my Heatran here. He goes out for the Volt Switch and goes into his Venusaur yet again. As he switches out into his Rotom here, predicting my Crobat. So, a lot of very aggressive switches to keep the momentum on his side. I'm kind of reeling at this point, even though I have the 6-4 advantage. Because if he keeps making plays like this, then I'm going to have no choice but to sack something eventually. And I don't want to do that. So I just go for the U-turn to get some damage on this and go right out into my Ringo here to potentially sack it off. And the Volt Switch does not pick up the KO, which is fine by me. He goes out into the Staraptor. So, I know for a fact this thing is scarfed, because he could have just Brave Birded and U-turned and then killed my Ringo the following turn. But he didn't, because he didn't want to Brave Bird again, thanks to the choice item, and lose his Staraptor. So this thing is scarfed. I know it's scarfed. I switch out because I know the U-turn is coming. I go out into my Puff Daddy. This is a play I needed to make right here. He goes out into his Rotom. This is a play I needed to make right here, right? He's been Volt Switching all game. He's not going to want to go for the Will-O-Wisp again, because that would give me my Flash Fire boost and make Heatran just sweep his team pretty much with Fire Blast, except for the Azu, which is toxic, so it's not too big of a problem. So I feel like he's going to Volt Switch here, because he knows that I know he has the Will-O-Wisp, and he knows that I don't want my Mega Altaria to be Will-O-Wisp. So, on that note, I Mega Evolve, and I go for a Dragon Dance on his Volt Switch. So I predicted that perfectly. That's exactly what I needed to do. He goes out into his Venusaur. Okay, now I calc this. His Venusaur is at 66%. I'm at +1. Max attack Adamant with Outrage. Outrage has a, I believe, 80-something% to get the KO from this range. So I have no reason not to click it. I know I'll be locked into it, so his Azu can just come in and kill me next turn. That's fine. I want to trade my Mega Altaria for his Mega Venusaur. I feel like that's a fair trade to make. My Mega Altaria has not been doing anything for me so far this match. He has the Azu, that's super effective. He has the Scarf Staraptor, which would still outspeed me at +1 and do huge damage to me with the Brave Bird. He has Will-O-Wisp potential with the Rotom. So my Mega Altaria isn't very viable right now, and his Mega Venusaur is the absolute core of his team at the moment. I need to get rid of this thing, so I decide to stay and go for the Outrage, as it brings him down to 2%, and he kills me with a Sludge Bomb. That's kind of unfortunate, but I realize it doesn't really matter too much, because I can just come in and outspeed it and pick up the KO anyway. So right here, I just go for the U-turn and pick up the KO on the Venusaur. That's Pinky's second kill of the match. And I go out into my Scolipede PD here. I went for the U-turn because it kills the Venusaur as well as gives me momentum. If he chooses to switch out to something, I can bring in a proper match to his switch. So I go on my Scolipede as he goes into his Rotom Heat. I do not like this matchup. Rock Slide does not kill from this range. I believe it needs to be down like 5 to 8% more in order for me to guarantee a kill. And I don't feel like dealing with that. So I have to switch out here. I go out into my Heatran. He goes for the Pain Split, surprisingly enough. He probably knew Heatran was coming out. He goes for the Volt Switch here, brings me below half, which is not where I want to be, and he goes out into his Azu. I just set up Stealth Rocks on his Volt Switch. So now it kills the Staraptor upon switch in and limits the amount of times this Rotom Heat can switch in as well. Now Azu here, I'm sure it's banded. I'm almost positive it's banded, because he hasn't switched up his moves yet. He's switched when I brought in Heatran before. And he's also toxic, so he's on a timer. He's not going to want to stay in here very long. I can just switch in my Vaporeon, hopefully take the Waterfall and get some health back. That's what I thought. So I switch in my Vaporeon. He goes for the Belly Drum. So, yeah. Well played on his part for hiding it this long, but also I don't understand why he didn't go for Waterfall earlier and just body my Heatran. I feel like that would have been the better play, is to just body my Heatran earlier, but that's fine. I just have to start sacking things right now to this until Toxic wears it out, to be honest. And I could have went for Protect here, but I don't. I don't know why I didn't. He actually just goes for Play Rough and knocks me out. I guess that's fine anyway. I could have went for Protect and saved my Vaporeon at least one turn. He goes for the Aqua Jet here. But that's fine. You know, I didn't need those two for the rest of the match anyway. I mean, the +1 in differential would have been a bit better, I suppose. But I sent out my Pinky here, as he sends out his Staraptor, which dies on rocks. So that's another kill for Heatran. And he goes into Rotom. So, looking at 3-on-1 right now with his Rotom. Well, it's essentially 2-on-1 because my Umbreon is at 9%. But I have my Scolipede in the back, which can pick up a KO from this range with a Rock Slide if I hit it. But I also have my Pinky out here, which outspeeds it. So I go ahead and go for the Cross Poison just to get some damage on this thing. It brings it down to the point where a Poison Jab from Scolipede should pick up the KO, especially after another one. It brings him down to 10%. It gets the Poison as well, which honestly didn't matter. He goes for the Volt Switch. There's his leftovers, and there's the Poison damage. I sent out my PD, and that didn't matter. We would have been at 16%. I could have killed it with a Poison Jab. 100% accurate move. I outspeed. It would have been over here anyway. But I decided to give Crobat the kill because he got rid of the Venusaur, he got rid of the Tentacruel, and I just felt like he needed a third kill here. So I go for the Protect. Rotom goes for the Pain Split, and that brings him down to a big fat 0 health. Great for us. We pick up the very narrow 2-0, a lot closer than a 2-0 in my opinion. It should have been a very close 1-0, but 63 turns, guys. That was an incredibly long match. Props to Foxxy there for playing an incredible match as well. He had me on the ropes for the longest time there. That Volt Turn core he had going on, just if I didn't make a couple of the plays I've made, just predicting him to do things, just from sheer luck, he probably would have easily won that match. So I'm very happy that I managed to guess correctly those couple of times that I needed to. So we move up to 6-2 in the GPL, and since we don't have an opponent next week, we'll be 7-2. As I stated, the person had to drop due to scheduling reasons, I'm supposing. Probably sounds right. So we'll be at 7-2 this coming week in week 9 of the GPL. So we're looking fantastic. That's technically a 7-game win streak. and we are playing the best that we've ever played. This is probably the best match I've played this entire season. It took 63 turns to do it. Foxy, hopefully I see you in the playoffs, and hopefully I beat you in the playoffs again. That was actually a really good match. I wouldn't mind playing you again because this was a lot of fun. But I gotta get out of here, guys. I have to go to work because I'm an adult. My name's Shoquafina. I gotta get out of here, like I said, and I'm out.